Indeed.
So I would like to call our meeting into order for 4 o'clock on the dot. And I would like to, first of all, just say thank you guys for being here. Welcome to our first meeting this year. And let's go ahead and do roll call.
Pam Teller.
Oh, sorry, Paul McCoy?
Shannon. Tracy Parker.
Steve Wozolowski.
Larry Hinton.
Mike Bryan.
And Erica Grammer. I also want to say thank you for being here, Steve, and also Cecilia. Thank you. So the next thing would be, so we do have a quorum, obviously, that's here, and I would like to ask Pam, would you mind doing invocation?
Father God, we thank you so much for the day that you have blessed us with. We thank you for the very breath of life. We ask you, Lord, to guide our thoughts and our words as we come together as a board. And I pray, Lord, that all of our actions will glorify you. I pray that we are represented and we continue to stay in your will. Thank you for the community that has shown up and care about what business we're about. So I thank you for their presence, and I ask you, Lord, to just watch over us and guide us through this meeting. It's in Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right, the next thing on the agenda is approval of the agenda.
Chair Garrett, I did want to amend the agenda or offer an amendment for vote before we approved. I just wanted to add discussion of the letter from the mayor of
I
Hendersonville.
do want to remind you to raise your hand and let
Oh,
me
sorry.
acknowledge you.
I'm used to the buttons, sorry about that.
But you can continue.
Yeah, I just wanted to add a brief discussion, I don't want to take up a bunch of time, just addressing the mayor of Hendersonville's letter to the board. That would be the only motion to add. Do I have a second?
So there's discussion for that. I would like to, there's a reason why I don't have that on there. I would like to sit down and talk with him about some of the points that he brought up. I have already talked to him about doing that. So there's a reason why I haven't put that on there, is because I want to have a sit down with him of finding out some of the details of what he's asking for.
Well, we got a second, but recognition.
There's a second for us to bring that as a point.
Okay.
We haven't voted on it
Okay.
yet. So, I mean, that's my discussion on that of why it's not on the agenda. I have talked with him. I had to get a signature from him, and so I have talked with him briefly about that and talked to him about having a sit down where we can talk about details. Honestly, there are 2 main points in there. One of them is something that we have already talked about as a board, and that was that it was commissioner business. We don't have say over that. And the second thing is about hours, and I would like to sit down and talk to him about some of those details. Yes.
Well, we obviously all don't have the same level of information about this subject, so I would ask you, Madam Chair, to let's have a discussion about it with no conclusion, and I think that's the point of your, so everybody could be brought up with the same amount of information.
Okay, well, we can put it for vote. It was addressed at me as the chair. It was shared to the board just to know what was shared, what was written to me as the chair. That is why I was coming from that mentality. So, but yes, let's put up for vote. It needs to be worded. Yes, is all.
where do you want that to be in new business?
Yeah.
I actually, yeah. I have
70.
suggestions on that.
Yes. Thank you.
70 instead.
That would be the amendment to the,
Can you word your amendment, please?
offer amendment to the agenda to add an item to the agenda under new business 7D regarding Mayor Clary's letter to the board regarding the donation to the board, or to the Hendersonville Library outstanding. Hopefully that's clear enough.
Are you wanting the letter in entirety or just about that? Because it is about multiple things in that letter.
I think the specificity regarding the donation in the letter that he was specifically referring to.
So,
Just that.
as stated, so is there a second?
Tracy.
I think
So
Tracy
Tracy seconded,
seconded,
and, so let's vote. All in favor say yay.
Yeah,
Aye.
Aye. I can say whatever you say. Yay is fine. And any nays?
No.
I will change mine to a nay because I've already stated mine. So I changed mine to a nay. Were there any abstentions? So, was that 5? Okay, so 5-3.
Thank you.
So that has been added in as 7D. Yes.
And I would ask to amend the budget process in the treasurer's report to B. Since the meeting was moved until 4 o'clock, I do have a previous commitment that I have to leave here by 5:15. I lead a group at 6 o'clock, so, and I would be the one giving the budget process in the treasurer's report, so if we could move that to B.
So you're needing C to be moved to B.
Mhm.
C and A.
Second.
Yes,
I'm
C
sorry,
and
thank
8,
you.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. There is a second.
Yes, thank you, Shannon.
You're welcome.
Um,
And you want to combine 8?
Yeah, because I just
C
figured I'd do the
and A,
same,
yeah.
because they
Okay.
follow each
Yes,
other.
that's
Yeah.
fine.
Makes sense.
Do we need to make it A? No.
Oh, she was saying C and 8. She's gonna just give her that is her treasurer report, so not A, but 8.
Okay.
So I'm sorry, I did skip that whole, so thank you for the motion. Second by Shannon. Is there any further question or discussion? So we can call to vote. So all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No?
If I might, Madam Chair, the information on the website is 30 minutes off. The meeting time in the computer is off by 30 minutes. Now, I don't know who's supposed to see to that, but somebody needs to, because if you,
How it was reported or like
no,
what?
if you just go to the website and call up
Oh,
library meetings,
on
the time is off by 30 minutes.
Okay.
It
That
used to be
needs
3:30.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so the board voted to change it to 4, and that's where that conflict is for me
Yeah.
too, because.
Yeah, somebody, I don't know who's supposed to take care of that, but somebody needs to.
Mayor's office and IT.
Okay. Oh.
Do you want me to take care of that?
If you would like to,
Yes,
that would be
I
helpful.
will.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so on the amendment that was first and second, and we don't have any discussion, did we just vote on
We
that?
just voted.
Okay, we did, okay, thank you, I'm sorry, my brain. Yes.
Madam Chair, one more amendment, I would like to, we had 7D right now. I would like to add a 7E, a motion to discuss the all-staff closure on April 14th, 2026. 7E. Several people put that in email.
Is there a second to
Sorry.
that?
Second.
Is there any discussion needed for that? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No?
And
So staff,
Mhm.
April
14th, I think, training, yeah.
Yeah, training.
And one
Okay.
more thing,
Yes.
sorry. A motion for 7F to be a discussion of the standards. Specifically disaster plans. I don't expect that to be a long discussion, but that's the motion.
Do you have a
So
second
what
for that?
number are we on? What
7F.
number are we on?
That would be F. Do I have a second for that,
Second.
Steve? Discussion purpose,
The report from Red River Regional talks about the library standards. I noticed, and I want to be very clear, nothing against Westmoreland and Hendersonville, y'all just got here, but there's no disaster plan in place for those two libraries. There may be historical reasons for that that I'm unaware of. I know the other three have them, but I just want to know what they are. That just seemed like
So you
I want to
wanna
make sure we have some
ask some
library
questions on
discussion
that?
about that. Yeah, that's all. Yeah, there may be nothing to discuss. I just want to make sure we talk about it.
so that's just an inquiry?
It's an inquiry, yeah.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, say no. And that was standards pertaining to
Disaster
plan.
plan specifically, yeah.
Thank you. All right.
Westmoreland and which other hospital?
Hendersonville.
Hospital.
Your business mind.
Okay.
Let me fill in
Thank
some of
you.
these points for just one second. Let me just make sure I get this written down correctly. And yours need to be, and then that makes the report from the library directors pertaining to Secretary of State, Trey Hargett, letter C. Okay. So as amended, the agenda, so let me just restate that just for clarity's sake. So I think we've crossed all the Ts as far as the votes and all the things
Yeah.
so far. So that would make, under new business, A would be election of a secretary. B would be the 2026, 2027 budget process, and that will also include the treasurer report. C is the report from library directors pertaining to Secretary of State Trey Hargett letter. D is discussion about Mayor Clary's letter, specifically about the donation. E is staff, pertaining to this staff training for 414 and the request made about that we'll discuss. And then F, not 4, standards specifically about the disaster plan. Is that correct? Is that?
Yeah.
Okay. So do I have a motion to approve the amended agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Any abstentions? All right, so we now have an agenda. All right. Okay, so that moves us to the next point, which is approval of the minutes. We have 2 sets. One is for 11/12 and one is for 12/11. I just wanted to say it that way. I thought that was so do I have a motion to approve? I mean, do I have? Is there any? How do I need to approach that? Do I need to ask for?
Ask
Are
for
there any
directions.
changes?
Are there any corrections to be made on November 12th,
Yes.
2025?
Apparently there are, yes.
So under Millersville, it says best decorated table at the trailer tree. It's the Trail of Treats.
Trail of trees, okay. I wouldn't have known that in the minutes.
Where was that listed under? I'm sorry.
I know,
It's
I know where
under
it was.
B, under Millersville Library Director Report. It's the first sentence, the end of the first sentence.
That was me trying to listen to
It's-
the minutes.
I mumbled. I went
I
back.
wondered who did the minutes, so
Yeah.
I didn't know if you could put them in YouTube
Thank
and
you.
they will.
The trail
Trail of treats.
of trees, okay.
Treat.
It's
Oh,
treats.
treats.
Yes.
Instead of going door
Not
to
see,
door.
not the trail of
Okay.
tears now.
Yeah.
You already had that somewhere else.
Instead of going door to door for Halloween. I-
Okay, gotcha. I'm just, want to
So-
make sure I fix it.
TREATS.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything, any other corrections? On the 11-12 meeting, minutes. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'm going to motion to group and approve A and B.
Yeah, that's good.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And does that clears both completely, right?
Mhm.
Okay. I just want to make sure.
And I'll fix that in just
Okay.
minutes.
All right, over to, I just set it down, here it is. All right, so then. All right, so that brings us to recognition of public. We have 4 that are signed up. I'd like to, when you come up, please make sure you just stand right here. But you're talking to us, but it's so everybody can see you. And so please address the board. Please state your name and your address, and then you'll have 3 minutes to speak. I will have an alarm that goes off, okay? Okay? All right, so Randy Hill, please.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Thank you for the board. I would like, Randy Hill, 1328 Brinkley Branch Road in Gallatin.
Thank you.
I want to speak to this board specifically in the choice of books, because I know that there's a lot of discussion about the transgender books that's coming forward. And I'd like to say that the books that are being considered to be approved are to stay in the library, and I'm reading this, so place complex and mature information and the responsibility of making life-altering interpretations into the hands of children whose intellectual and emotional and development capabilities are not prepared to make such decisions. Children are still learning to form their ability to discern, reason, and understand long-term consequences. Presenting them with context that exceeds their developmental readiness does not promote education. It actually creates confusion and places burdens on young minds that are not equipped to carry them. As a parent of children that are in their 20s and 30s, I can tell you, I can confirm, according to child development experts, that the prefrontal cortex of the brain is not even ready to make long-term decisions till the age of 25. And my children can confirm that. But this prefrontal cortex discerns risk assessment and also long-term consequences, which a child is not ready to make, because it's proven that children, especially in elementary school, make their decisions based more on peer pressure than on long-term decisions. They do not have the ability to have informed consent. To have informed consent, you have to be able to understand your decision, appreciate long-term consequences, weigh out the issues, and make a voluntary decision without peer pressure from others. Most legal systems, most children cannot fully meet these criteria. That's why even in our country, contracts cannot be signed by minors. Medical consent cannot be given by minors. Courts treat juvenile decisions differently. Children development experts say children in early adolescence are not developed and equipped to make irreversible life decisions. So with that, I would respectfully ask this board to recognize its responsibility to not only look at the present moment, but to look at the long-term well-being of the students that are entrusted into your care. Protecting children means to establish boundaries that allow them to grow safely, thoughtfully, and age appropriately. So for these reasons, I urge you to act in the best interests of our children, not just for today, but in the future. Thank you.
Okay, the next to speak is Joanna Daniels.
Hi, Joanna Daniels, 152 Shadow Haven Way North and 1202 Beach Grove Road. So I'm here talking about the memo from Secretary of State Trey Hargett. In his memo or his letter, it talks about only in the juvenile or teen or young below 18, I think it is. And he based this with transgender books, and he based this on the executive order by President Trump. Well, the executive order from President Trump does not state an age limit. It says any materials that promote transgender. Therefore, that means any materials. If President Trump had intended for it to be only for a certain age limit, then I think that he's smart enough to have put that in his executive order. However, he does not want any tax monies, that is any, like zero, going towards the transgender ideology, theology, or anything like that. Now, this is very important because this isn't a moral thing, this isn't a First Amendment thing, this is a tax dollar thing. Public libraries have become a slush fund, have become a point of money for authors out there because they know that if they are on the best-selling, generally all public libraries will purchase books. Therefore, they know that any author out there knows that they have a fund right there with public libraries. Authors should not feel that. Therefore, I don't want any of my tax dollars going towards funding transgender ideology. I don't care what age it is. If they're an adult, they can go and purchase it themselves somewhere else. That is not banning, because we're not making it so that you can't purchase these books. But as a Christian, as an American, I do not want my tax dollars going towards purchasing books for anybody, just like I don't want my tax dollars purchasing Playboy or Hustler or anything like that. And again, the executive order said no tax dollars, no federal funds being used to purchase transgender ideology. Therefore, no age was in there. It is all books. And therefore, Secretary of State Trey Hargett's letter was inconsistent with the executive order that he quoted in his letter. Thank you so much.
All right, Jay Ritterbuck.
Thank you. Jay Ritterbeck, 349 Lola Lane, Cottontown. Glad to see a almost full board today, starting the new year off really great. I just wanted to thank all of you guys for your dedication to serving public service, but also there's going to be some good work ahead. Hopefully some good cooperation this year on that library policy, how we revisit that it's cooperative and taking kind of a stepwise process. If we're taking short sections and coming to consensus on that and then moving to the next rather than trying to just swallow the whole document every time it comes forward. So there's a good group of business community, medium-sized, big companies that are going to be participating a lot more this year. They've been at some of the last ones. J. Dot. And we just want to, again, let you guys know that, you know, we're very interested, protecting kids, making a very defensible policy, that if it is challenged, it stands up, and that, you know, we're very, very thorough in our discussion. So again, we thank you and look forward to this year. Thanks.
I can't hear you. So I allowed it because it is interwoven with the Trey Hargett letter and what the Trey Hargett letter refers to being the executive order. I do want to remind everyone, and this is not to, you'll get to speak the way you need to, but do want to remind everyone to stay, it does need to always be on agenda points. I am allowing a cushion because it does pertain to, if I was not able to find a way that pertains to, then I would have called that on either side of that conversation, for fairness. Jack Elston is our last speaker.
Thank you. This does regard the Trey Hargett letter. Okay, so anyway, board, you've heard me, it's Jack Elston, 1096 Kennesaw Boulevard. You've heard me speak before about transgender materials, so let me recap. I've got just 3 points and a possible solution. Number one, while the Trey Hargett letter addressed identifying trans-related materials and an action to be taken, obviously one of those actions that have been promoted has been the removal. So speaking to the issue of removal, just want to remind the board that removing materials because of disagreement with ideas is in fact viewpoint discrimination, which violates both the Tennessee and the U.S. Constitution. So really you need to be asking yourself in terms of if this is something you want to move ahead with the idea of saying let's go ahead and recommend removal. Do you really want the county, or do you want yourselves personally to be involved in a lawsuit? So give that consideration. Number two, claims that trans people are mentally ill, which have been stated here by other people, are not supported by medical science. Every medical and mental health organization recognizes gender dysphoria is a legitimate medical condition that deserves evidence-based compassionate care. Claims to the contrary come from advocacy groups, not medical authorities. Number three, there's been many objections raised here about biblical interpretations. But the fact is, not all Christians interpret the Bible in the same way. In fact, several major denominations affirm transgender people, drawing on verses from Isaiah 56, Acts 8, Galatians 3:28, and Matthew 19. So given the idea of religious liberty, I want to remind the board that public institutions must remain neutral regarding biblical interpretation and support. So let me endorse a solution that's been promoted here, and that is instead of removing or restricting materials, create instead a neutral parental and family resource area for all sensitive subjects that a reasonable parent would want to go through with their children. That could include things like suicide, depression, trauma, substance abuse, bullying, divorce, adoption, poverty, homeless, and yes, transgender materials. The idea is it's a broad source of ideas, and it's not ideological based. It's based again on parents wanting to have a conversation with their kids. So materials stay accessible without barriers, can be placed near the resource desk or the reference desk to support parental involvement of younger children. So that's about age appropriateness, not about ideology. Not about ideology. It's lawful and it's respectful of all people. Finally, I guess I want to encourage you, if you don't personally know any transgender people, I encourage you to read some of the books yourselves. You're not going to find they're harming anybody. I think what you're going to find is that they're promoting compassion and understanding of a vulnerable population. Because here's the reality. Every one of us are going to be faced at some point with some friend, some loved one who comes and says, hey, I'm gay, or I'm transgender. I'm asking you to read this material so that you'll react not with fear and condemnation and rejection, but rather act with knowledge, with acceptance and loving care. Thank you.
to all of you who spoke. All right, so then that brings us to the report of the chairman. I actually don't have a lot to say at this moment, except for just reminding that, well, I would like to say on a personal note, I have had 2 deaths again recently. So I am, on a personal level, just asking for a little bit of extra understanding. And if I seem a little off or odd in a moment or something, please just know I'm processing. Secondly, I just want to remind that I really appreciate how our last meeting went. I know I introduced a little further, some further steps to needing to, you need to make sure that you ask to be, and wait for me to acknowledge you. And there's a lot of grace of understanding we're learning this, but I will call that out. And that's just a Robert's Rules of Order thing. We will not be speaking about things that are not on the agenda. So whatever agenda item we're on, we will stay on. All comments and questions are to be addressed to me as the chair, not to each other. And then note, just to remind, and I mess up on this, so please remind me when I do this too, but no discussion can take place until there's been a motion and a second. Those are just basics of, I'm not, that's not to be mean, that's to just bring it into order. I think it went really smoothly last time, so thank you for doing that. And I think that's all as far as I can think of right now. So I guess that brings us to our new business, which we have a jumbled list here. All right, so the first thing on here is election of a secretary. So in kind of as a preamble, just to remind us, first of all, I wanted to just read what the bylaws say a secretary is. The secretary shall keep a true and correct account of all the proceedings of the board meetings, and the secretary shall see that the recordings of all meetings and notes are legally posted. We've not had a secretary since June. We brought this up for nominations and vote in July. No one took it at that point. Also, something that transpired is we have also, and though this is a different wording, we think of them very together, but there's a secretary spot on our board that needs to get filled. But then we also have lost our note taker. That is a position that has been being filled until July, August. I can't remember when Susie stopped, but somewhere in that. I asked Mike to call and find out from finance.
Sorry about that.
Hello. I asked him to check into that about the note taker aspect, because I think one of the nervous things for people, or what I would think of, is if we do not have a note taker, then the minutes defers to the secretary. And so this secretary spot staying open needs to get filled, but I think that taking care of the note taker side would be helpful. So do you mind sharing with us what you found out about note taker?
Sure. So I've been communicating with Jessica a little bit just to find out if we have and Jessica Allison in finance, to find out about if we have a position or a budget line item or all that, so we know if this person's paid. I didn't know, so I just needed to check. The position for a note taker, not a secretary, but a note taker, just somebody to sit here with us and do the minutes. That takes it the load off the secretary, you know. So that's
Or the treasurer or the vice chair.
right, or anybody, right.
Those of us
So right
who do
now,
it, yeah.
it's on the vice chair to do the minutes if we don't have a secretary, so. And that's according to our bylaws, I don't know if y'all have seen that on there, but anyway. So there is a budget item that's $600 a year, so Jessica said there's 4 or 5 note takers in the building, and they come to different meetings, and they're paid $50 to $100 a meeting, depending on the time of the meeting and also depending on how long the meeting is. So they might be paid a little bit more if the meeting goes longer than 2 hours, say. So that's a person that we can hire outside of the board. It can be just, you know, anybody that we say, hey, look, this person might be a good, you know, note taker. We can hire someone. That candidate, if they're not already a part-time employee for the county, because we can hire a part-time employee for the county and they can just come do the minutes, but then they do their part-time work, you know, the rest of the time. So there's that option too. The candidate has to fill out a W-9 and be set up as a vendor, which Jessica said would just take, it's just like one form. And then each time we have a meeting, we fill out a little thing that says, please pay this person $50 or whatever we decide on. So that's a pretty easy step. And then she said we don't have to post a job opening. So that can just be within us if we want to do that, whoever we want to hire. And so I asked her if she knew any minute takers who would want to take the position for the library board, and she said no. And she does that some, but she wasn't able, she couldn't able to do it now. So anyway, so that's the note taker position, part of the secretary job.
And
The line item in the budget was $900.
$600.
$600.
and that's through the commissioners. That's a commissioner's thing.
Oh, I forgot.
My
forgot to say
understanding,
this.
how it has transpired prior was basically, it's $50 per meeting. It was the main meetings, and then any special called was, the secretary had to.
So I was just thinking, we've increased the number of times we're meeting a year from what it had been previously, so I was just trying to do, and math is not always my strongest attribute, but I just thought that didn't sound like enough for as
Right.
often if we.
Because it's been the $50, and then we only meet as 10 times, that would be plenty.
That'd be if we met 12 times
I know we might
a
be in
year.
a parliamentary,
That'd be
I was
$600.
preambling it, and I think we've moved into more of a discussion. I don't know parliamentary wise where we are. Is this acceptable?
I mean, if you want to discuss it, you can make a motion to discuss and do that.
Move by acclamation to discuss.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay,
So-
thanks.
All right, so that was Paul and seconded by Tracy, so, all right, thank you. What the hardship of not having a secretary and a note taker is, it does naturally fall to vice chair automatically. When he's not here, it has fallen on on treasurer. So, you know, we need to fill the position, I think we should fill both positions. I would entertain a motion about the note taker first. Since you were giving information, would you like to?
Yeah, I would make a motion that we would hire a note taker that could be present in the next meeting.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion needed further?
How are we gonna find that person?
Well, I mean, I would be willing, I mean, if between the chair and vice chair, we would be willing, I think,
Yeah, that'd be.
just to narrow that down, but I mean, I would be willing to see if we could find
Where
someone.
do you start with When you said the people in the,
Hey, guys,
in the
there's a-
building. Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's a
So
part,
you-
like,
She said the
part-time
people in the
people.
building, they were like, she didn't think there
Well,
was.
she
The
just said
official-
she wouldn't do it. She didn't think anybody else
So I
that
would
she could
start
think
there.
of
Where
would be
I would
able to
start.
do it.
Yeah, where I would start is,
Yeah.
and is asking them first.
And that's what I did,
Okay,
just so I would know that to tell y'all.
okay.
Yes.
Can we make that part of the discussion that?
Oh, sorry,
that-
we're sitting here discussing. Your motion is, tell me your motion, and yes, I
I'll
agree.
second.
Okay.
Seconded,
No, we
we're
can
in the
discuss.
discussion. I'm so sorry, I let that slip.
Can we make that part of the understanding now? I don't care whether we make an amendment to the motion or not, that we start here in the building. We find somebody who is doing that now and expand their job rather than just get somebody off the street. We don't want to be willy-nilly about this because these people that do this in these kind of meetings understand what's
Yeah, that's
important
what
to get
I'm
down
saying.
on a piece of paper, and people off the street would run themselves crazy and still not get half of it done.
Yeah.
So-
Right, there is a learning curve for sure.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
And I
yes.
did ask Jessica that about if there's anybody out of the people in the building that already are doing it, if she thought anybody would be interested. She's just gonna ask, but, and I said, what about you? Because she does it too. She said, I can't do it, you know,
Yeah.
just time-wise, she can't do it. She's already here enough, I think.
She's here right now, as a matter of fact.
I, if I can add, I think we ought to know who that person is. I think this body ought to know who that person's gonna be and have an opportunity to have a discussion with them if we choose to. You know?
Yeah,
I mean,
preferably.
accurate records are more than casually important, so. And if I want to ask her, what did I say? She didn't be able to tell me, so let's handle this like it's a serious position.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
believe me, I did the minutes. The
what-
last two times, it's very serious.
So, are you proposing an amendment? Like, what is our next action point?
If
from
you
that
need
motion?
an amendment to make sure that we explore the people that have been doing this, then I'll make that in the form of amendment. That the people gonna be considered initially will be people who are already trained to do that and have done that. And then, if that don't produce anybody, then we'll have to revisit to go outside
I was
that
thinking
group.
the court system might have some people who would do that on the side, because they have lots of people taking notes and stuff.
Okay, so is that an official amendment, or do we want to just discuss the
If
points
you want to
you're saying?
accept it as being part of the discussion, I don't need an amendment, but if you don't want to accept it that
Okay.
way, I'll make it as an amendment.
I'll accept it as part
I
of
mean,
the
I can make it part of my
discussion.
motion.
I have a clarifying factor to that then, if it is just a part of the discussion. So, I'm making sure I'm hearing correctly and how to word this before we vote, to make sure the motion covers it or does not, if we need an amendment. So, because your motion was,
It's a hire note taker.
and his words were, so we have them at the next meeting.
Yeah, yeah.
So, that's the
You might want to
kicker.
ask the motion maker to restate his motion incorporating what he said.
Okay, so
That's what he wants to
restate,
do.
there we go.
All right,
But let me ask the clarifying, and then you can possibly
Okay.
restate.
all right.
So if we were to pursue the motion, but considering what's being said, I'm hearing, can we pursue finding someone in that is trained, is the word? Could we hire that person for the next meeting if they are trained and from this building, or whatever we want to say specifically about that? Because the hardship is, every month we keep doing this, then it goes on his head, like, he has to go through it.
It is not my intent in anything that I've said to prevent that from happening.
Mhm.
If you search and you find somebody that's done that before and you feel like they're qualified, then we can deal with it.
I will amend Mike's motion to state that Mike has full authority to hire a note taker at his discretion. I'm good with, but
Second.
And the responsibility.
Any conversation about the amendment?
Because I think Mike understands the concern that's been
Yes.
said.
Yeah, definitely.
And as he
He's
said,
living it.
he really
Yeah.
wants that person to be good at their job.
Yes.
For
Yes.
sure.
Yes. Okay.
So
Can I
that's
call
how
for a
Larry
question?
Rescinding his.
Is it on the amendment?
No,
not
He might
available.
want us,
it's on the
Were you
motion
okay
in
with
its
that?
entirety.
Yeah, I'm fine with
if you
that.
just want to make it as part of your main motion, we don't have to do the amendment.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
we
what were you saying? I'm sorry, Larry.
I move for the question, which will include, off the record, the discussion we've had that it would be somebody that with him, we're comfortable that he's gonna understand that he's gonna find somebody that's done this before and qualified. That's part of the deal we got in front of him.
Okay.
So I call for the question, that
So
he hire somebody with those qualifications.
were you suggesting a clarification?
I think the maker of the motion should restate the motion in its entirety, of all the
Yes.
discussion, so that everybody understands what it is.
Okay, so my motion now is to hire a note taker that has full capability and professionalism and knows how to do the recording of the minutes, recording of what's said, so we have all of that accurately. And it's gonna be a long motion, I guess.
No, I was like, wow, this is a long motion. I will not be restating it.
Madam Chair, that's what makes this job so hard, because he'll do a paragraph instead of one sentence.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, can you simplify it?
So I will make a motion, I'll change my motion, I'll make a motion to hire a note taker that's qualified and that can start the next meeting. Based on all this discussion.
And that you will
Yeah.
be
Third, fourth.
responsible.
And then I'll be responsible for that
Yes.
person,
Okay,
hiring that
so
person.
second, there were many, I think, but just
She's,
second.
give it to Shannon.
Okay, Shannon takes the second on that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, say no. So, I'm sorry, did I do that correctly?
Yep.
Parliamentary wise? Okay, is that just for the motion or was that to let it pass?
That was the motion.
We're done.
That was the
Okay,
motion.
yes, okay. I'm so sorry, my brain is like this.
For the minute taker,
Okay.
we'll throw out the secretary, which nominations will have to be taken for that.
Yes, I'm gonna ask that.
Yeah.
So, so then that takes care of the note taker, thank you for your patience. Takes care of the note taker conversation so that we can come into the conversation about secretary. Do I have any nominations for secretary or volunteer for secretary position? The only people it cannot be are the ones who already have officer positions, so that would be the three of us right now.
Can you restate the roles of the role
Yes.
of the secretary? Maybe somebody will.
What it says in writing is that the secretary shall keep a true and correct account of all the proceedings of the board meetings. The secretary shall, so keep minutes if needed, or make sure that the note taker is keeping minutes. It's the responsibility of making sure that's happening. And the secretary shall see that the recordings of all meetings and notes are legally posted. So whether they're doing it themselves or it's delegated, but making sure it's done. So if there's a note taker, they're taking care of the minutes, but the responsibility falls on the secretary that it happens.
Yeah, so if the note taker calls in sick, the secretary takes notes.
Yes, or if we have a special called meeting, or if we have something that the note taker's not present for.
And
So do I, yeah.
good question,
Mhm.
and this is an officer position, right?
This is an officer. There are 4 officers, so for our library board, we have 4 officer positions. There's chair, vice chair, secretary, and treasurer. So this is an officer position. So do I have any nominations or volunteer for the position of secretary?
All volunteer. All volunteer.
Okay.
Second.
Thank you.
So,
Down any farther.
Steve is volunteering, so he's making the motion that he volunteers,
I know,
and
there's no
she
motion.
seconded it.
There's no second.
There's no second, it's just a position, so there we
And then
go.
you close,
Yeah, we
close
do.
nominations, and then you
Close.
vote on it.
Okay, so close nominations, and then we will vote, so,
I vote
Yes.
I vote I make a motion that we accept his volunteer and make him
Yes.
officially in that position.
okay.
Second.
Okay. And then, all right, so call to vote, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. And any abstentions, no. All right, I think that was unanimous. All right,
We
so
all say
welcome,
thank you.
Secretary, thank you.
Yes, thank you, Steve.
Okay,
Next it's me.
yeah, so the next thing on the agenda is 2026, 2027 budget process and also treasurer report, and that is going to be completely handed over to you.
Yes, thank you. So the 2026, 2027 budget process is in motion right now. The worksheets will be delivered between now and perhaps the 20th of January to all the libraries. And from January the 20th until the February board meeting, the directors will work within those budgets. Shannon, I see your hand waving.
I'm going to, I see our interim finance director back there kind
Yes.
of
Mhm.
shaking her head.
Sure.
Would you, I'm going to motion to suspend the rules without further objection and let,
Yes,
Yeah,
Beth, please, you
speak
can
to this.
talk about the
Thank you.
process completely, yes.
So the finance department has until January 31st to get those worksheets to the libraries.
Mhm.
We would like to have them out by the 20th. I'm not gonna guarantee you that's
Okay.
gonna happen. And then the libraries have until March 1 to have those submitted to the finance department. If they are not submitted by March 1, then we will just automatically insert the FY '26 budget. And then you would have to come to the budget hearings if you wanted any changes made to that, and ask the budget committee to take care of those changes.
Okay. Are there any questions that you need to ask?
I have a question. When they do that worksheet, does that come to us before it goes to her? That's the process, right?
Yes.
That will
Okay.
be my treasurer's report
Okay,
information.
all right, good deal, okay.
Yeah, the budget committee does ask that the library board.
We don't have
I
a
thought that
budget
was
committee.
Okay.
So part of
Our
this contract.
county
Yes.
budget committee
Our-
requires the library
Yes.
board
Sure.
Yes.
to review those before they come to us, and then it would be up to Erica to present those to, at the county's budget committee.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right.
And that, what was the date in March?
March
March
1st.
First, okay.
Yes.
All right.
And then we will send verifications out to the library directors and to you after we receive those. When we send those back, it's only to correct any errors that we may have entered. It's not for any additional requests or anything like that. There is an email that will come with the worksheets explaining how to complete them.
Thank you so much.
Wonderful, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so,
Any other questions or anything about the budget process?
Kinda got a hard, tight timeline, don't we?
yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, from the 31st until, just the month of February. And because we don't really have a budget committee, it really is, how are we as a board going to make sure that each of the individual library directors have the support that they need in order to submit these budgets to the board so that we can review them and get them to finance by March 1st with no mistakes.
Right.
So my suggestion is that we meet with the directors individually. We don't have a budget committee for me to be able to assign or, ask somebody to go to these libraries. It can't just be one person. So we need to divvy up these libraries and meet with these directors between the time they receive their worksheets and March the 1st, before our board meeting, so that we can make sure these budgets get done correctly.
So before the February meeting?
Before the February board meeting, which then we will come together as a group, which we said we wanted to kind of do these assignments as a team and not just as a committee. And then, let's just say, Mike, you take Westmoreland, you would come and present Westmoreland's budget that you've worked with Angie on to the board, and we would be able to determine if it's ready to go to finance.
Would it
Tracy?
be feasible, because we have two, I'm so sorry, I should
Yes.
know this, I have a lot of people in the room. Would it be feasible to meet with the directors as a group to discuss some of the commonalities of things that do fluctuate year to year versus things that don't? And just, I think that would be very helpful for Angie and Emily if I was in their position. And I just got a little weak in the knees when you started talking about me going to try to tell somebody, that's not, it's different in the school system. So that might be helpful to do a work session with the directors all together once their sheets get brought, because Anita and Gabby and Amy are much more the experts in the room about making sure that's right and common pitfalls that happen with that, common errors and whatnot. That's my thought.
Anybody else have any suggestions on how, since we don't really have a committee that oversees it, how do we accomplish getting the budget submitted to us accurately? Shannon, you're on the budget committee and on the commissioners. What would you suggest?
They are library directors, they should be in charge of their own budget. So them doing, if they have questions, I think they could call finance if they had questions, because they are the professionals. And she's back there shaking her head. Bethany wants them to call finance if they have a problem, which takes us out of it having to know how finance is doing. Finance will take care of their stuff for them. And then all we have to do is approve them. So, I guess if they're purchasing something you don't think they ought to purchase, then you could say, I don't know why we have this in the budget. You can question their budgets, question the content of their budgets, but if they have questions, they need to go to finance to do those. That's what I think. And they're directors, they're department heads, so they should be able to do their budget, and then if they have a question, they can call finance. And I know finance will help them. And then we can just have a special called sometime the end of
Before the
February.
board meeting in February?
Sometime in February. The due date's March 1st, so when they finish their budgets, they can email the board,
It
a
gives us
group
7
email.
days between the last
Right.
day we can get that and the board meeting on the 11th. That's 7 working days.
Yeah, yeah, so we could just have a special call after they get their stuff
Okay.
in. Yeah.
Okay. So we'll do our normal board meeting, and then before March the 1st, do a special called meeting
It's
to
just
review,
about-
just for
Yeah.
budget.
The budget.
Yeah.
That makes
Okay.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they should, yes, and they should, and
We
they
are
should
trying
be
to make
able-
sure everybody's taken care of.
Yes,
I
that's what I'm
promise,
trying to
I promise.
do, yes.
Do you feel like there's a chance that it will be the 31st and not closer to the 20th? Or you have no way of really anticipating that, getting their stuff to them?
I'm hoping to get it out before the 31st, but we work on getting the larger departments out first. The one, sheriff's office has 400 or 500 employees, so
Yeah.
it's a much larger
Yeah.
task
Bigger
for them
endeavor.
to take care of.
Is it out of the question for directors to start working on their budgets based on last year to begin with?
No.
That way you
Okay.
can
Have
go
y'all
in.
already
Yeah, you're
started
already
working
doing
on
I
that.
think y'all
Yeah,
already
okay.
thinking through that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
then,
for
whether
sure.
it's the 20th or the 31st, you're still,
And
Got time
budget
to work.
chair, we
Yeah.
voted in budget Monday night. I don't know if Jessica and Beth talked to you already about this, but they're assuming 2% COLA. So that's your one round number. And it's an even number, so it should be easy.
But that's a percentage, and they're not really.
Oh. Do you need a motion?
That's what I was thinking, what do we need?
So I
Well, I
make
mean,
a
it was
motion.
just the budget process.
It's
I
really
mean, it's just
it's a no
discussion.
action other than.
Oh,
just
okay,
making
all right,
communication.
okay.
It's just trying to figure out, you know,
Is my understanding.
as treasurer, just making sure that, you know, we know as a board. I used to be on budget committee, but since I don't have that resource, I just wasn't sure how to proceed with helping the directors the best that we could.
And I know that from what she has said to me, it's just it's a lot of pressure. It's like how do we do this, because she was a part of the committee last time. I'm just trying to find out how to do that. Yes.
I'd like to tell you what I think I've heard.
Okay.
Being I'm the oldest and the slowest in the room, if I got it, surely y'all have it. All we're gonna do is tell the library directors to go to finance and start their budgeting process.
Go to finance if they have a question.
Directly.
Do what?
Go to finance if they have a question.
Any questions that they put forth. Now, we can talk about guidelines if we want to, do we have, and it's, COLA's 2%, got that out of the way. So when they come back to us, then they will be in a position to tell us that they have already been to finance, and show us the final product. Or do we want to reverse that? Do we want them coming back to us to show us what they're gonna take to finance? Which way do we want that to happen now?
They come back to the
First
board
way.
before it goes to finance
Come back to the board before it goes to finance.
for
Okay.
the
And
final.
that is
for
the
final
normal
budget.
route.
Okay.
Yeah.
So up before
But they're
that, finance
asking
is just a
prior.
reference.
They're
For-
asking
Yeah,
directly
finance
to
is
finance is what I'm
gonna
hearing.
guide the
Is that correct?
process,
Mhm.
right? And set parameters that have already been established, and they'll all know that. So when they get to us and the question comes up, then a legitimate answer would be, well, we talked to finance about that and this is what we come, okay. So everything's supposed to be ready, and if we sign off on it, then it's ready to go officially back to finance to be approved with the county commission, right?
Correct.
For
If
the
we
March
have,
1st.
if we have questions about it, then that'll be the time to iron all that out. If we think there's too much money or too little money in certain line items, blah, blah, blah. So all that discussion, and then at that meeting, we'll be prepared as a board to approve those, and then all they have to do is go back and hand that product over to finance. So all that ought to happen. We know what ought to happen, so 1, 2, 3, we're done, okay? Did I understand that right?
From what I understood, you said yes, absolutely. I think that's.
Well, I was double talking a little.
Thank you for simplifying that.
Any other discussion?
I have one.
Yes, Mike?
I wondered, have we asked the directors if they want or need our help in the meantime? Or is that something that I know we've done that, we did that last year. You know, some of us went, or all of us went to the individual libraries and asked about what their budget needs were. I just wonder if, like, kind of going along with what Shannon said, if they really need, they've done it before, they're directors, they know how to handle a budget. Do they need our help?
I'll take that responsibility and reach out to at least Angie and Emily, since they've not officially done a library director budget.
Yeah.
I'm sure they could reach out to, you know, Gabby and the other Anita and get help with that. But I will personally, as the treasurer, I'll take responsibility and reach out to Angie and Emily to see what help they might need. And you know, go through it with you. We can call finance together, or if you guys want to, you know, brave it on your own, that's great too. But as treasurer, I'll just make sure that anybody who needs help, you can call me, but you can call finance first. But Emily and Angie, I'll offer my assistance to them, since I've done it for a couple years now.
Okay.
Okay.
in the spirit of eliminating steps, you know, do they even need us to
Mhm.
help
Right,
them?
Right.
Is there any other discussion?
Can I suspend Robert's rules just for a second and just make?
They're still suspended,
Oh,
yeah,
I
they've
think.
been
We didn't
kinda
have
So,
hanging out.
against
you
it.
guys, how do you feel about that discussion that we just had?
We will keep communicating with y'all, but I don't think we need help.
Okay.
I feel the same.
I just wanted to know what your expectations were, and we got it now, you know, questions for finance, you all review, and then it goes back to finance, so that's what I needed to know.
Okay. Okay. And then as far as the treasurer's report, I would just kind of like to share that the Portland budget is at 48.4%. The Millersville budget is at 46.7%, and Gallatin is at 52.3%, which is great, well within the expectations of where we are in the year. And then Hendersonville is at 39.8%, and Westmoreland is at 27.7%. And that would be because the directors' salaries have not been allocated for the whole
Makes
budget
sense.
year. They just started getting that paid in October or first week of November. So that's why when you guys look at your reports, you see that those two budgets are way under budget. That would be the explanation for that. And then I did want to just kind of update on the capital funds, the capital projects that are going on in Gallatin. And just that there was $53,000 allocated for the capital project fund. And to date, $13,075 has been expended. And a lot of their projects are getting completed, and look forward to seeing all that come together, and you guys will have pictures of that stuff in your reports. But I think it speaks good of your management and coordinating things. So anyway, the capital projects in Gallatin are coming along really well. And then next month, if we've got some other projects going on in some of the other libraries, I'll update you guys on that as well.
Thank you, ma'am.
Sure.
Thank you. All
Do
right.
we need to come back into session?
I was just gonna say that now that we've ended that conversation and that discussion, I would entertain a motion to bring it back into
We just bring it
session.
back into session.
Or I can? Okay, there we go. I'm bringing it back into session.
Done.
Okay. So the next thing on our agenda is the reports from library directors pertaining to Secretary of State Trey Hargett letter. So let's go in order of those other reports at the bottom, just so I don't leave anybody out. So, and if y'all will, just do come up here and talk to us for just a second, just so well, you know what, y'all are fine sitting on the front row. We'll leave you at the front row. All right, so that brings us to Gabby.
I had emailed y'all pretty soon after we received the letter, maybe too fast because I had not talked to the region yet. We have an ongoing collection review year round, and we've really been going hard the last year because our former children's librarian was pretty far behind leading in general. So we've been going hard just on items that are not being checked out. We do a 5-year report, and if it's not been checked out a certain number of times, we get rid of it. If it's just in bad condition, we decide whether it needs to be replaced or not. So we really didn't find any. We didn't have the book that the secretary mentioned to begin with. I've given y'all 5 books that are in the children's section that appear on a lot of lists when I'm doing research online, and I think I told y'all a few places I was going to look, a few resources I used to get books that people had problems with nationwide, and the 5 that I found that do show up on a lot of those lists are being actively checked out, and that's why they are still in the collection. So I was really leaving it up to y'all to sign off on whether you wanted those removed from the collection or moved. And that's what I have.
Trying to, yeah.
Can we ask questions about any of that?
Yeah. So that means that, yes.
So the Sweet Pea one is a middle grade novel. I mean, I didn't really see any issues with any of the books that were on your list,
Can I,
to be honest with you.
when we talked to Andrew Ritter, he said to go by the age, because the libraries already have a policy.
Well, middle
that-
grade is 4th through 6th grade, so that covers children.
Yeah, he had used 8 or 12 are numbers that he mentioned, and we considered all of these 12 and under.
Right. So I didn't see any problems with any of those books. I could see where someone might put that the very first book you listed was the only one I thought might be really on the radar at all. I didn't see any trouble with any of the other ones that were on there. I mean, if I was gonna move something anywhere, I would move it to my parent resource shelf, because that's such a variety of topics that those books cover, and someone may process that, especially the top two on the second page, more of that topic that you would want a parent involved in. I mean, that would be my only suggestion. Except that only the very first one could I see falling in the area that was addressed in the letter, really.
Yes.
Madam Chair, I have I looked through these reports, and there was some that you had sent, and then there were a number on the Hendersonville page. I don't remember the exact count, but it seems like there's, in total, there's around 30. But we got these reports in the last 4 or 5 days. I looked at them 2 days ago. I haven't seen the books. What I read, the description-wise, looks to me like publishers' descriptions. They're usually on the back jacket of a cover, and library board, can't judge a book by the cover. You gotta see the book, you gotta hold it in your hands. So I'm gonna propose a motion in 3 parts. I thought about. That motion is to defer this discussion about these books to the February meeting. That gives us around a month so we can go look at them, do some research, get our eyeballs and hands on these books. The second part of that motion will be to make the February meeting a work study so that we can all sit and talk with the directors at the table about the books themselves and also a plan to move forward, perhaps putting together something, an idea for a policy using what we talked with Secretary of State Ritter about that have been working in other libraries in the state. And the third part of that motion is to authorize you as chair to write to Secretary Hargett and inform him we need another 60 days to turn in this stuff, which again, state librarian said that we could do that if we needed more time. And we've had the reports for a couple of days. I think we need some more time. That's the motion.
Second.
Okay, so that brings us into discussion, and I have a couple of things that I'd like to say to those things. Honestly, and I really should have preambled even with this, but it has to do with this, with the Trey Hargett letter, and hearing Jamie Ritter on 2 calls. I was on the call, y'all were on another. As pertaining to this, I'm really just looking for the report factor, because according to them, they're just collecting data right now. And I wanted to hear the report that each location has brought, so that it can bring us into other conversation points later. To me, the report is the report. It is what they were reporting. our action points can be other conversations or other things or based around policy, that kind of stuff. So for me, I was just wanting to hear a report of what they wanted to send in, because according to Jamie Ritter, I always forget his name, I'm so sorry. According to Jamie Ritter, right now they're just collecting data. And so it's about what each library director wanted to say to that report of what was asked of them. I just wanted to hear what they had to say before that is sent in to Cecilia. Hold on just one second, I do acknowledge you. But, so as per to the things that you were saying, and now I've lost all three of them. Say a synopsis of all three, please.
Defer this to the February meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Make the February meeting a work study so we can all sit down with the directors at the table and really talk through this issue as a full board. And right now, we are not a full board. We're missing a person. Hopefully, we can have a full board at the February meeting. And the third thing was to authorize you to write to Trey Hargett and tell him we need another 60 days.
So as per to those things, I would not think that there's really a need for the extension, because they have come with full reports.
The reports aren't full. On the report, there is, we can write no action, instruct them to write no action on all of those books, but it says no action removed. They need an answer to those 4 check boxes, is my understanding. Am I correct about that, Cecilia?
Yeah, that was my.
Can I
So
yeah.
go ahead.
So Paul is right. So there was a template that came out, and you didn't have to necessarily use it. And we've seen libraries that have just written a letter saying that these are the books, or we didn't find any books, or these are the books, and we decided to do this and that with that. So there needs to be some type of action item if you have books that you would like to, that you have reviewed and you're moving or keeping or whatever, but, so that's correct. So if it's just a list of books, then that wouldn't be a complete one, so, yeah. And for the deadline thing, I think that's something that he has mentioned a few times, that libraries can get an extension.
And that's all I'm saying. If, like, right now, it's like that deadline currently is how many days from now?
Like
4 days?
Tuesday.
Yeah, so having not seen all of these books, I'm not voting to do anything with them until I actually see them, look at them, do some research on them. But I would think that would be the case with all of us. None of us would feel comfortable making a decision on books we haven't seen. That's the whole thing about deferring them, but then also, this has been, just looking at the elephant in the room, this has been a hot button issue. There's a lot of people that care deeply about this, and there's a lot of misinformation in the room, or about the issue. Let's come together as a full board and really try to come up with a workable solution that, protects families, protects county citizens, protects taxpayers, doesn't violate the Constitution. I think we need to do that as well. And I think we can do that as a full board. I really do. And that's why I want to, let's come together as a work study and put some ideas on the table and talk through and see what we can come up with.
And the action point cannot be that they waiting on board discussion or something like that.
I think for the, my understanding of it, and I think I'm right, is that for this report, if you do select books that you're listing in the report, that there should be some type of action item. Either as a board you decide to keep it where it is, or possibly move it to a different section of the library.
Or ask for an extension.
Yeah. Or ask for an extension is something that, we've seen several libraries have to do. So it came before Christmas. Some boards meet different times, and it's hard. And obviously you guys are different because you have 5 libraries, not just one. So
We could check the checkbox for other and say the board is deliberating currently.
So I wonder that seemed to be the only option.
Yeah, we could have them do that. But that would, I will amend my motion to offer that in place of the third, informing the Secretary of State that we needed more time.
And then as per my thoughts about the other portions of your motion is that we're already, from what I understood, and I am bringing in a previous conversation simply for date purposes, but I think we just referred to needing to have a special meeting in February
For budget.
for
But
budget.
after the additional.
But we
Check over.
could, that would be more of a roundtable kind of concept of talking through budget. We could include that conversation in that.
I worry because it's such a big conversation, and that will be a meeting that requires a vote from us. We will have to vote after we've seen those guys. I'd like a work study specific. Believe you me, I'm the last person in the world that wants to add a second meeting if we could do it in the first. But I really think this requires its own thing. I really do.
So just our regular February board meeting would be a work study.
Yeah.
And then we'd have a special called meeting. He's
For
not saying
budget.
3 meetings.
For budget.
And point of information, legal, for work study, do we have to allow public comment?
If there's no voting items, then that would not be the case.
Okay,
It's like planning commission, basically.
Right.
oh, okay, that's what I thought, I just couldn't remember.
So I'm not getting 3, I'm only getting 2.
Yeah.
February as a work session discussion about these items, and then the second later in the month
We'll
as
just.
a
Can you
special
read-
called is only budget.
Can you restate your motion
Yes.
of how you've amended it?
The motion as amended is to, 1, defer this discussion to the February meeting, 2, make that February meeting a work study, and 3, authorize the library directors to check the other box on these if they have books and say board is currently in deliberation.
Could I encourage you to consider just a different date for our meeting for February, a later date for February, so that we can,
Right now, our meeting is February 11th. So if we made the February 11th meeting a work study, our budget meeting could be the last week. So it could be, it shouldn't be on Monday, the 23rd, because that's when we'll have commission, I think. And then, so, Tuesday's the 24th, Wednesday's the 25th, and Thursday's the 26th. For budget. For this
For that
board
special, well, that's what
to
we're
do
talking
the
about. That would be when
budget,
the
yes.
special call meeting
So
was.
we'll have 2 meetings in February. We'll have our regular and our special call. We were gonna do that anyway. We'll just turn the regular into a work study.
If we did the 11th as our regular, if we did the 25th, that would
They
still
don't
give
have
the
this
directors
budget.
Thursday and Friday,
Okay.
if there was some correction or adjustment that needed to be made. Is that a reasonable amount of time? Because all the heavy lifting would have been done. I'm sorry, what was that?
That's just reminding
We're
me
not
they're closed
open.
Thursday and Friday.
Oh, we're not having our session.
we can.
It's okay.
You can, I'm just reminding,
What, you're not open on that Wednesday?
we're not open right now. We can.
We're not,
You can,
pause for
So we need to look
I
at our
would-
schedule, our director's schedule.
I would entertain y'all can ask.
Sorry.
I just want to try to keep it in
I like
order.
Tracy's idea. I like Tracy's idea of the 25th, because it does give them 2 working days before March 1st to correct anything they need to on their budget.
then do we have to notify or do anything changing February the 11th to a work study instead of a board meeting?
We'll just change
will
it
be
on the calendar.
taken care of on the calendar. IT will do that.
Okay. But somebody has to notify
Once
IT.
Erica lets them
Erica
know.
will do that,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
I will also put a public notice on there about the work study as well on the public notice page.
Yes.
Whoever does that.
Um,
Isn't it y'all?
Well, that's all,
We do it for some
it's chair,
people.
but through, yeah, IT takes care of that as well. Okay, all right,
So
yes?
just to clarify, that motion that's on the floor doesn't affect the special called budget meeting. We'll have to do a different, we can add that to this one, but that's gonna make it 4 things. So I think we might need to do a second motion for that later. But there's still that one motion on the floor.
Okay, so, restate, and I know I've had you do this so many times.
You're fine.
Restate your amended.
As amended, it's defer the discussion of the report to the February meeting, to making that February meeting a work study, and 3, authorizing the directors to check the other box and write board is in deliberation. On the, and then, I'm not sure if we submit this report or
Yes.
we submit this
Yeah.
report, and then.
Erica signs it.
So that would authorize you to sign it and send that to Secretary of State.
So that would take care of the check mark of
Having
it
it
being turned in by the
Yes.
deadline,
Mhm.
Yeah.
but it would,
But-
And I will find out if we need anything else from that. That's something I need.
Any
to
specific
follow.
time frame
The fact
or-
that you're giving me the report by the 20th is great, and then I will figure out what, if any, we need from you
Mhm.
happening at the work session.
Yeah.
okay.
I will figure that out.
Real quick. So we're sending the report to the secretary, but we're deferring discussing the report. I don't know if that,
Because we're gonna mark that that the board is still deliberating what's gonna physically happen to that book, but we are aware of these, or
Okay.
the titles that they pulled.
okay, so we are
Yeah.
acknowledging. that.
Yes,
Okay.
and I did
I like
see a
it.
News 2 article where Secretary Hargett said this was a request and not an order.
Yeah, it's a
So,
video on Facebook.
yeah, that's the.
We don't
but
have to do anything.
I think, you know, this also gives us time, I mean, to look at these books.
Yeah, and we're having a special call, not a special call meeting, but we're turning that meeting into a discussion around this, so I like.
Where
I
we
like
can
it.
talk about that as a full
Second.
board and come up with a good plan. Yeah,
Yep,
Not a special call, but
work study.
Work
session.
thank you,
Special calls for budget.
and only, not correcting.
thank you.
Clarify.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, if anything's changed since I made the second, you want another second, or is that the one I made still okay?
I think it holds.
Mhm.
Okay, good.
He just said it
It's basically the
holds.
same thing, so.
It's just a clarifying.
So we just talked it to death and then come up with the same thing. Okay. Good job.
Well, we got him in,
That's
you
what we
know.
do.
Well, except for
All
that
right,
other
okay,
thing,
so,
that's-
so call to vote. All in favor of that 3-point, motion that was made, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Any abstentions? So that passes, and I want to go down as an abstention, actually. And then,
I didn't vote.
and you didn't vote, are you an abstention as well? Okay.
Just a no vote.
And so that affects a lot, we'll need to make sure we get all that in writing. Yes,
Just that, I know we talked about that date for a budget meeting, is that something you do now, or is that just something you'll do?
we'll do, I'll put that out officially, we'll have a
Okay.
conversation.
All right, just didn't want to.
All right, thank you.
Do a vote.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so that means we just deferred all of that, so that means that C is complete, correct? All right, so that brings us to D, which is discussion about Mayor Clary's letter, specifically about the donation. I personally don't have that in front of me at this point, so if anybody,
I can pull it, well, maybe I can.
I got one.
Are we just discussing the whole letter or just the 321?
his motion and our agreement was on donation specific.
The letter and the donation.
You said the letter specifically on donation, because I had to reword that.
Thank you.
I mean, I clarified that with you.
Thank you.
So only on the, we will only do discussion on the donation. Do I have a motion for discussion?
Yes, motion to discuss the
Second.
discussion. Thank you.
All right.
Can I ask
Yes.
the attorney a
Oh.
question? Do you know what we're fixing to talk about?
Yes, I'm familiar with it, but not as familiar as I would have been if it were
I
on the
know I
agenda.
would have liked to have had it
Well, that's
more
okay.
I am somewhat
advance
familiar with it, though,
notice.
yes.
But, well, is the option in front of this board to do something about this, or is it still up in the air of what needs to be done about
I
it?
think the issue, if I recall, and this is just my going off memory here, the issue is, I guess they want to split the money with the city because they own half the lot, own half the real property, is my understanding of it. Correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, but I believe the actual bequest was to the library itself, which means this body would have discretion on how to deal with that. So that's my extent of my knowledge on that.
Okay. Let me add this tidbit of information. Sumner County owns the Gallatin Library.
Hendersonville.
Hendersonville, yeah.
Gallatin.
Oh, Gallatin.
Lock, stock, and barrel.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
The city of Hendersonville owns half the Hendersonville Library. That's a joint ownership. The city of Portland owns Portland Library in its entirety. I don't know about Westmoreland. Miller's, I think Sumner County owns Millersville in its entirety. Because when all these libraries were being built, and I happened to be there, that fight went on for about a month. So if you'll look at the names of the libraries, it says Portland Library of Sumner County. I believe Gallatin Library says Gallatin Library of Sumner County. Hendersonville Library says Hendersonville Library, I think. So nobody ever shook hands and said, okay, we'll do it that way. It's just how it fell out. So, but there was discussions about that. So there's almost a different attitude about who owns what, when, and where. And that'll wind up in your basket, I'm sure.
Well, the issue we have, and I think it's been an ongoing issue for quite some time, is the who does what at the library in terms
Yes,
of maintenance
yes.
and so forth.
Yes.
So this is part of that issue, I believe.
Yes.
We've got to sort that
Yeah.
out at some point as well.
Yeah, and I don't think the county spends a dime on maintenance in the Portland Library. Is that not right?
I'm sorry. So
The county don't spend any money to
we do
maintain
need to
Portland
bring this back
Library.
to specifically Henderson.
So we do all our own maintenance. I think the county pays for all the maintenance in Gallatin, right? So it's a menagerie of setups. So I don't know whether that has any effect on this decision or not, but it might. If somebody got all jerky and wanted to go to court, all that might be read into the record. Now, whether that changes about the judge's mind or not, I don't know, but that's the veil that we're working under with this discussion.
So simplification, if I can, I would like to bring it back specifically to the Hendersonville, but I agree, the point of what's being brought up is the other libraries are Sumner County only, whereas with Hendersonville, maybe not that wording. But there's not this.
More straightforward.
Let me talk specifically about Hendersonville, and you can let me know. Hendersonville shares some responsibility, and even in commissioners' meetings, I've heard the debate and
That's right.
the confusion about some of this.
That's right.
So part of what's going on is with that letter has to do with, did I say that better? I'm sorry, what you were shaking your head at, was I saying that better about?
Are you looking at
the
me?
share? Yes.
No, I'm shaking my head because he wants to discuss it. So I'm going to make a motion right now that Steve Wasilowski come to speak to us about what he thinks is so important to speak to us about.
Thank you.
And I will need a second.
Second.
I don't. You finish your thought. That's good. You finish your thought.
Okay, I was just saying there is confusion. I'm just trying to use part of what he was saying to put it in the picture of why Mayor Clary is asking us or putting a request on this is because there is an expectation, there's a shared responsibility for, and so I just wanted to let that be known. That is not the normal circumstance. This is a different situation where.
Because there is no normal.
The city, yes, exactly.
That's a
So
problem.
the city of Hendersonville shares some of the responsibility of the Hendersonville Public Library with the Sumner County. So that's why there is this request. So what is your question and what is your point? What you were needing to?
Thank you. Thank you for all that backstory. I am aware of most of that, and that makes sense. I was basically trying to get to the understanding of not let's all fight over the money, but I think the headline of this was this Hendersonville resident, Shirley Phipps, this is in his email, and it was news to me, so that's why I wanted to bring it to the board, because it was news to me. Passed away, and through her last will and testament, she gave a gift of $321,000 and some change to the Hendersonville Library. And essentially, all the rest of what Hendersonville and all that stuff, it's like, he said, it could be argued forever. But that money is not even close to the Hendersonville Public Library right now, and that's what I was trying to figure out. And it sounds like it's just in a account that nobody could even argue about what it's doing. So the discussion is, I was trying to figure out if that is true and what the board might be able to do to not spend it. I don't want to bring that up now, but at least now that we're in budget talks, what I would think would be, let's ask the budget committee or the Sumner County Commission to put it in a account, maybe a special account that is only Hendersonville Public Library account under this board's authority, so that we at least take a step in the right direction to, I would imagine what Shirley Phipps wanted to do was improve the Hendersonville Library with her generous gift. Because the way I see it, I just see it as good luck, friends of library, for any library, if what people think Sumner County does, when you give money to something, they go spirit it away and throw it away. So that's what not throw it away, but that's what I was trying to discuss. And this stuff has been brought to my attention and all that, so that was just what I was trying to talk about.
If I can add to some of that.
Yeah.
And I would have more detailed wording on this if I had known ahead of time that we were going to be talking about it. So I may refer to things improperly, like remind me if I'm slipping on some of the details. But this conversation has been a big deal conversation at different times with the commission. This has been debated and conversed many times. It has gone back and forth between a lot of their committees. This has been a very long-going conversation. And so there's a lot more to the story than this letter. So when it first, there was a point, and I don't remember the date to tell you, but there is a point when this has been brought to this table before, and we discussed that donation. And it was while commissioners were still debating through how they were going to handle it and what was going to happen with it. And our board said, we discussed it, and we said, this sounds like commissioner conversation, and they can, and Mayor Clary can work this out with the commission, because this is not our decision. My conversation, and I will even say, I had a very casual conversation with Mayor Clary, like I said, saying, let's sit down and talk about some of the details. But what I said at the board meeting at this table then, and the thing that I even said to him was, to me, and this is an opinion, but this is what we discussed, when somebody leaves money, if I were to be somebody who left money to anybody, any group, anything, I would want, my intention would be that group, that library, in this case, could use it the way that they need to use it. I don't think that a board or a mayor or any particular person should be the person who tells the library how it should be used. If I were to leave money, I would not think that that should happen that way.
But a lot.
But we really don't have, in my understanding, the authority to tell how to split that or how to, that's between the commission and Mayor Clary, is my understanding. Yes.
In July or August meeting, and you can check the minutes, we voted, this board voted to put that money in the budget subcommittee. That money, so that everybody knows, is in a restricted account. It's in a restricted account.
The budget subcommittee of Sumner County, not the budget subcommittee.
No, of this library board.
Oh, so we already have the money?
Yes,
Oh,
but we cannot use it when we decide to use it, when the board comes up with, or Ms. Higdon and discusses with the board an idea, and we come up with an idea on how to use the money, then we will have to, for the Hendersonville Library only,
Right.
it will have to go through budget committee, and then it will have to go through the full commission to be voted on. Because regardless of who owns whatever part of that library, whether it's the half the city, half the county, all the city, whatever, this county commission sees it as county property. We don't see it as anything but. So we will approve the funds to be taken out of that account for those improvements or that special thing.
Yeah.
So, was that, does
That's
that
super
clarify?
fun. Look at that. We got a lot done. What I wanted to do had already been done 6 months ago. Look at that. We're moving.
So what we need to move forward with, what I'm hearing, is making a plan of action.
Yeah.
What will be done with that money.
Like, he wants more hours for the Hendersonville Library.
And
Except that the city mayor wants half of that money. So the mayor of Hendersonville wants half of that money. So I think this is very much still a legal issue.
Totally.
I can speak to this a little bit.
Thank you.
I think the issue here is not really ownership, but operations of the library. This county operates the library. This body oversees the operations of that library. I understand that there's issues with, one half ownership of the physical plant between the county and the city. So ultimately, I believe it would be the funds that we do have would be spent for the benefit of the library at the discretion of the county commission.
so is it our responsibility though to present to the commission what we plan for how we would like that money to be spent and then stamp off on it? Or is it the commissioners that that's where I'm getting a little gray area, because I feel like it keeps going back and
Well,
forth.
this body oversees the library. So I'm sure that the commissioners would feel that your input on that would be important, but ultimately it'd be their decision.
Right, it is ultimately their decision, yes.
If we don't use it for the Hendersonville Public Library, I
Wait,
don't
that's-
see
there is
a-
no
No,
question.
I'm saying I don't see a scenario where anyone does if
Right.
we don't.
No.
So I would say,
Yeah.
well, that's not what y'all are saying. Y'all are saying it's magic money and no one can touch it ever. And I'm saying we need to at least move forward with the plan. And yeah, the Hendersonville mayor wants to use it so that the library's open more.
But
That's not
a fine-
insane.
But that's a finite amount of money for a recurring
It is.
expense.
Yeah.
So that's the struggle
Absolutely.
there.
Yeah.
Contrary to governmental accounting.
Right.
Room full of
Also-
CPAs. I'm just saying.
No, yeah.
I'm just saying, he's not trying to use it for.
Oh, no,
nice
I don't think,
That's
I didn't, yeah.
So,
I don't
it's
disagree
about
with you.
moving forward with something. Now, that was what I wanted a discussion. I didn't have a motion, I don't have a great idea on how to use the funds. I don't know why nobody replied to the email, but maybe there's past stuff I didn't know about, so I'm brought up to speed, so thanks.
Let me give one more opinion, and it's probably worth how long it takes you to listen. the real property, in my estimation, the real property is, I believe it's on a split deed. And I'm not sure about that, but I believe that's right.
Yeah.
I think money left can be used for the structure. I think you could roof it. I think you could put down new floors. I think you could do the repairs of the structure. But I don't think Clary or the county can say you're gonna spend this
No.
on books and programs, et cetera, et cetera. I think it's the real property is where the money, who win the contest if it turns into a contest.
Yeah.
That the whole wad of money. Now, the part that talks about the library, if the library, there may be some of it allocated, but I think it's hitched to the property. I don't think it's hitched to a program. I think it's hitched to the property.
That's correct.
And they need it. The Hendersonville Library needs a bunch of work on it. So that's not gonna be altogether bad, but it ain't, we ain't gonna settle it. This body ain't gonna settle it.
But we have to give a suggestion on how we think it should be used, because they're looking for us, to us for guidance, no?
Did they ask, formally ask?
Well, they're hoping they
Mayor
don't have to
Isabel did.
discuss this for a little while, because they've discussed it ad nauseum at various points in time.
When it hits that 24 down here, it won't, there won't be no pleasant negotiations, because they're not, neither side's gonna turn loose the money. Until they come to an agreement, yes, we'll spend it on the building, then you can probably negotiate that point. But I
So
don't
you don't
think,
think they would put it in
An endowment.
endowment?
they might both agree to that, yeah, if you
Because to me, that perpetuates
Yeah, well,
a certain, I mean, you're gonna
predetermine where
get
the
that
interest goes
interest
and all that.
off
yeah.
of that
Yeah,
to
they might do
use
that.
at the library, and that, to me, goes more along with my interpretation of her intention.
And that's sort of the nonprofit best practices, is you get a life gift like that, especially one of that size, it's ideal if you can use it in a way that perpetuates somehow, yeah. Whenever I go and I donate what meager money I have left, if somebody fixes the plumbing with it, I'm gonna get mad. I'm gonna come back and haunt that
If it just
bathroom.
gets caught up, nobody can use it, yeah.
Madam
Why don't we
Chairman,
make that
I'll apologize to you for butting in again, but one more thing. We're not gonna decide that here.
And
We
is
can
what I,
suggest, but
We
it's
can make
not a.
suggestions.
That is what I
We
told
talked to you blue in the face,
That's
and
what I
it
talked to
ain't
him
gonna be
about.
handled by this group.
But
what
if
we
we
need to
don't
talk
do
to.
anything, nothing will happen.
no.
Don't we have a year and a
so-
half of history of that?
I'm going
I don't think so.
to argue with, this sitting commissioner is going to argue with this former.
Thank you, Sharon.
That if this board wants to go to the county commission or come to the budget committee and say, we have decided to use Miss Vitt's money for a glass castle and a Princess Pony room at the Hendersonville Library, we can do that.
Yeah.
And you know
I
we
agree.
can. But Mr. Hinton also knows that there are people on that commission who would rather pave the parking lot, roof the building, and use it on capital projects. And I will say it right here for everybody to hear. I'm 100% opposed to that. Because the
You're gonna
county
lose.
property tax,
You're
I
gonna
might
lose.
lose, I've lost lots of things, Mr. Henry. But I've
You're
also
gonna lose.
won. That's how I know I can go and ask for a glass
Everything's
castle and a pony.
everything's
purchase.
negotiable, Mayor.
Yes, it
Everything
is.
is negotiable for
Yes, it
both
is.
parties. But the two parties are gonna have to sit down with common sense and come up with a joint recommendation, both sign off on it, and then you can get the money moving. But that's the only way you'll ever get it done.
But my understanding,
Yes, sir.
in my understanding, if I mean, the way I've understood it and even has been encouraged even here, it really comes down to, the need of Hendersonville Library. That would come to us, or we can talk to her about the things that are the need for. We can take that to the commission, but then after that,
Right, I mean, it's.
it's
on them.
not our control. So
That's
that
right.
still brings it back down to, when it comes to the conversation with Mayor Clary, it is not our conversation with him.
That's
It's
right.
his conversation with having to work it out with
That's
the
right.
commission if there's an issue.
That's
That, right?
That
That is
you
where,
do have correct.
and
Yeah.
that's what I
Yeah,
have said.
He's knocking on the wrong door.
That's what
Yeah.
I have said.
I
So,
thought that.
The commission is not going to magically do something that we never requested them to do.
You are correct.
Right,
What?
so we
It's
would take our,
100% our
okay,
job.
so Steve, if I'm hearing, like, we would just take the request, the action that you're not wanting to just sit out there. That's what I'm
Correct.
hearing, right?
We've gotta
And I
propel
agree.
it in some way.
Yeah.
So then what happens is when something is a need that is brought, or even, we can even go and say, hey, what are your thoughts? But our job is to go to them and ask them about that money and how to release that money to be used. Yes, that
Madam
is
Chair,
great.
This group wants to be the intercessor.
Yes.
If you want to be the mediator between these two groups, you can do that.
I don't.
This body can do that. You can do a formal request and say,
I will-
split the money, spend half
I will
of it
trust
on the
that
structure and put the other half in operation, and then they'll either do it or they won't.
This is being dead horse, and then I'll be done. The staff of the Hendersonville Public Library also do not own the library.
That's
The
right.
library is owned by the citizens of Sumner County and Hendersonville.
Mhm.
We are put in charge as a board to guide all of that, and Shirley Phipps's last will and testament.
Yep.
for that. Now, I didn't have a better idea, but I just wanted that discussion. We can do things.
Yeah.
We can do things. Okay.
Yes.
That,
With a majority vote
agreed.
on
Yeah.
this board.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
So, is
Thank
that,
you. That's
is
it. Thank you for
discussion
the
to
discussion.
conclusion at this point? Have we done
Thank
what?
you for the discussion.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm sorry.
No. Healthy questions, those were healthy
It
questions.
needed to be talked about.
I think so.
So thank you. All right, so, E, staff, the request for the, April 14th, I think is that date?
Yes.
To, for the staff training, there were multiple requests for that to be discussed, for that to be off. Would you like to do whatever you're supposed to?
I would just make a motion that the board authorize, I don't know if we have to do this or not, but I assume we do, that the board authorize that the directors can close their libraries that day for staff training, so they can all go do the professional development thing.
And that is April 14th.
April 14th.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll amend that motion to state that the libraries have our permission to close, and they must notify the mayor's office of such closure. So it will be on so he'll know that
Information.
if a tornado hits, he'll know not to worry about the people in the library.
Yes.
So, is there a second?
Second.
I have a question about that.
It has to be on the amendment.
Yeah, so I'm just wondering, do the directors not already have the authority to close the library if they need to for training? We have to approve that?
I think it's okay for us to vote for every library in Sumner County to be closed on a
It's just more
day,
official.
yes.
I just was asking if
I
that's
thi-
something we
They
can.
do, because they will close for special days for meetings, so I think this is only special because it's all 5 libraries closed
Gotcha,
on the
okay.
same day, not a Sunday,
Yeah,
because they're all already closed on Sunday.
yeah,
So, and notifying the mayor is just
Courtesy.
Yeah.
courtesy, yes.
okay, gotcha.
I only brought it up because I remember I saw it on
Yes.
a
It was
couple
on
of people.
everybody's,
Everybody
yeah, it was on
needed to-
everybody's.
Yeah.
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 And I was just asking because I didn't know.
Oh, okay.
I didn't either.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Any other discussion needed?
Mm-mm.
All right, call to vote. All in favor of the
Aye.
amended motion? Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, does that take care of the whole thing since it was?
You voted on the amendment.
That's the amendment. So now, so the motion as amended, we're just voting again. So that was just to accept the amendment as an amendment. So,
They're voting on it as amended.
so voting on the motion as amended, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Any abstentions? So that passed unanimously. All right, so April 14th, you have Michelle. Okay, and then that brings us to F, which is standards about a disaster plan, a discussion about standards disaster plan.
Yes, and I have no action on this at all. I just noticed in the standards reports from Red River Regional, and perhaps I'll defer to you to talk about this, that there are, and this is the first time I've noticed that. I haven't only been on the board a year, so I'm not sure if that's a common thing or if that's something that we need to help them get started on right away. So,
Yeah, I mean, I can talk about the standards just in general first, because I was going to do that earlier, and I sent this out to all of you. I sent it to you in an email a few times, and these are based on the standards for public libraries. The directors have to fill out the form, basically just a checklist, yes, no, yes, no. And we create this report and give you a kind of a comparison with other levels, same levels, as well as a statewide average, and that's how you read the report. These are not mandatory. We strongly recommend that you work towards them, and that will be something that would, could fit into a long-range plan. Could potentially just be that the library director just does it. Some of it is more long range, some of it like low-hanging fruit. You can do that tomorrow. So the fact that they're not doing a disaster plan yet is, I mean, I think that's definitely something you want to work towards, and I think that's a great one to kind of look at. We have some resources at the region. They're definitely not the only libraries in the state that don't do this. It's something that, it takes a little bit of time, and especially, new directors coming in, it needs some support to get that done. And I know some of the directors before them probably have started working on it, and that's something that I want to make sure you know too. So some of these are, I always recommend that directors, when they look at the standards, that they, instead of saying yes to something they're not completely sure of, to say no, because that means that there's, this is something, this is for you guys and for the for the libraries to work on. So this is not, you're not being graded by the state, or so I think it's great that you're pointing it out, and I think we are very happy to work with the directors to create one, and some of that has to be happening at the local level, but we have some toolkits and some examples and.
And there's not
reference.
there's not a deadline or anything on this at all, and it's one of the other things you need to put on that ever-growing to-do list. And I bet they have some that you can look at and all this as well.
Exactly. And I always think it's a good idea for the directors and for the board too, but because some of this pertains to the board only. But just to kind of make a list of, okay, we said no to that this year, let's look at a few that we might want to try to meet next year. And that would be a collaboration between the directors and the board and the library directors and us. So, but I'm glad you're looking at it. I think it's a great document.
I read your emails.
Yeah, I know you do. I know you do. But they're not mandatory. Nobody's in trouble. None of that. But it's and I have to say, and I say this to everyone, but I really like when there are no's, because I know that there are a lot of no's. It's always good to be completely honest and say, well, actually we don't do this, or we do it, but we don't do it the way we want to do it. So in a perfect world, if we say yes to this, they would all be perfect libraries, but they don't exist.
Okay, so
that's it. I just wanted an open discussion on it, so I understood it a little bit better. I got it.
Yeah.
When we move forward into the director's reports, can I make a suggestion based on time?
Sure.
They give us one thing they're looking forward to and one thing they were really proud of from the last month. We have their whole thing. Give me two.
Good suggestion.
All right. They're supposed to be only, that's all right. That sounds.
I have
all right,
read
so,
their reports.
So that does lead us into the director's reports. That starts with Ms. Valley. And I will give you freedom to say a little bit more than that, but to be able to sum it down and summarize it would be very helpful.
Okay.
Because I know that it's 6 o'clock.
One thing that I'm really proud of that has happened in the last month is we had our Riverville Library open house, and we had over 800 people come in, and in 2 hours.
Wow.
And we had 6 nonprofits, 4 local authors, 4 live artists, carolers, and Santa Claus, and our Friends of the Library group. And we did 2 different crafts. We did a community paper quilt, and the kids all made on a 6x6 piece of paper their own quilt, and we put it all together. And then we had the Tennessee Library for the, Cecilia may have to correct me on the name. It's not the Tennessee Library for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing. Yes, it is. That's the one. They came and helped us do a craft and a story and a little lesson. And we are actually got to be filmed to do they're doing little blips on their social media of live people filmed doing sign language.
So
Yes.
all that in the open house?
That's just an open
I
house.
saw y'all were rocking and rolling.
It's my favorite event of the year.
It really was great. It was full.
It was full. And one thing I'm looking forward to is every year we have the AARP come and do taxes for free at the library. And this year our group of tax preparers, they have more this year. And so we are able to fit in 220, I think, appointments. And we opened the appointments this morning, and in the first hour we had booked 63, and by the time I left at 3 o'clock today, we were already over 120 something.
Wow,
So it is going to be a great tax season, and that's lots of people that are from the community that don't normally come to the library and get to see how awesome we are.
That's great.
Good.
All right, Hendersonville Library, Ms. Emily.
All right, so something that I am really proud of is that our adult services programs have doubled since August. So we're really excited about that. And something that we're looking forward to is we are designing kind of like a curriculum orientation for our volunteers, specifically high school age. We're going to be working with Beta Club, National Honor Society, to hopefully get some regulars, and this is really going to assist us during summer reading. So they've been through that training, and they can get their hours for their school program. It'll just help us to operate more efficiently during summer reading if we don't have to worry about stopping and, training and guiding them. So we're excited about that.
And don't forget about the Tennessee Promise people. They've got to have service hours.
Yes, they do. All right. So Angela at Westmoreland. Angie, I know. I use it interchangeably. Angie.
I could be Angie now.
That's right.
I'm proud of everything at Westmoreland. We're such a small little library. But we are finally getting caught up on book collection. The last year, we didn't really order any books, unfortunately. But we are now getting caught up, have a lot of new releases, really proud of it. The staff is thrilled with all the new books and media and all sorts of stuff. So that's been a big deal for us. As you know, we don't have any cleaning services, so we've been deep cleaning the library and reorganizing and making things a little more modern. So I'm really proud of the team for pulling together and just pitching in and getting the library up to par. My operations manager, Lori Shaw, she's a new operations manager. She took Miss Phyllis's place. She just completed the disaster and emergency manual for us, and she put a tote together with all these emergency items in it. So that is now in place. I read the report wrong from Region saying, I thought it was mandatory. I didn't realize it was consultative, but I took everything to heart. And I made sure we got that done quickly. And then I'm really excited because we have been partnering with the schools to try to get the teens in and more adult programs. So we're really trying to expand that. And I want to thank my sister directors for all your help with all my crazy questions, and especially the region. Thank you for always being there. So that's my update.
Thanks.
Street and Millerville, so.
I'm always last.
That's for last.
Actually, Cecilia is
Something that I'm proud of, we had the most visitors in our library in the month of December than we have in the past 5 years.
That's amazing.
It was, the numbers are, you know, I like graphs, it's all in there. Something that we are looking forward to is we are starting to work with the after-school program at the elementary school, and we are starting a book club for the kids that school's done, but they're still stuck at school. And so they picked Mr. Popper's Penguins, and so we are doing that every other Thursday, and that's something that all the staff is really excited about, so we're taking turns about who can go and read and everything.
I like how you phrase that, who can go.
Yes.
Not who has to go.
Yes,
No,
exactly.
I'm the only one that tends to not go because everybody else deserves to do the fun things, and I'll just stay and do the
Trials of a door.
the non-fun things. I think that was all I was supposed to talk about. We're doing great things. If you have any questions, to us.
Thank you.
Love the graphs.
At least the old one. Yeah. We also had a Christmas thing this year too, we piggybacking off of what Gabby does. We're not near as big as her and everything, although someday we hope to be. We had like 250 people come through, so for us it was a great number and everything, so that's what we're really proud of. What's coming up, I did bring a few of these, if you guys want one of these. Our art show is coming up a week from this Saturday. I think if the operations manager told me correctly, she said last year we had 45 items actually included. This year we have 45 artists that are actually bringing all of their artwork and everything. So we could have anywhere from 80 to 90, you know.
And say the date again,
I'll give you one of these, but it's the 24th. 24th. From 2 to 4. It's right after we close and everything. Yeah, there you go. Y'all pass those out. And those are my two things. I'm good.
Thank you, Nita.
I'm reaching for the whole shebang.
Thank you.
Make sure you got
Miss
it. I'll leave it
Cecilia.
when I go look.
If I can just take a picture, y'all.
I was gonna say, I was just gonna take a picture.
Yeah.
And that way she would take a picture.
I have a friend who has 2 things. They just told me. And
I make a
then Miss
motion.
Cecilia. Hold on. Miss
Very good.
Cecilia.
Oh, Miss Cecilia?
Still to go.
Red ribbon, that's right.
I'll take my time.
Please,
As always. So I gave you a bunch of paperwork this time, so the main thing is the report. And it looks a little bit different, so that's why I printed it out. This is going to be our new format. We are changing our procedures a little bit, so this is coming out, we'll have more or less the same topics or sections every time, and I'll go through them with you. And I'll also send it out at the beginning of the month, so it's not going to come just before your board meeting. This is going to be the same report for all our boards, and it will come out every month. So I know you guys meet every month, so that will be good for you, but we've had some issues where we talk to some boards about something and then we forget to talk to others. So that's our goal. So quickly about the report. So the first section is the targeted standards. Of course, this time I have brought to you the entire standards report, so you can look at that. But we will discuss specific ones every time. Some that we see are low overall, not necessarily here because this is not good for you, but something to look at. And this time we mentioned appropriations for budget or budget for materials and also teen advisory boards. And again, I'm not going to discuss that because you'll have the whole report with you. And I'm glad that Paul brought it up because I think it's a good report to look at. And also, I know we don't have a lot of time. Everyone wants to go. For the upcoming trainings and meetings, so TEL is going to have some updates this month, and they will have some webinars at the end of the month. There will be several, and hopefully the directors will be able to join some of those. There are some updates I think all the libraries need to know about. So
TEL being Tennessee Electronic Library.
Yeah. And I'll send you more emails about that too, but I think those are important to join. And then yesterday we had a youth services roundtable. And then on Thursday, This is basically for Erica. We are going to have a board chair roundtable. We have that once in a while. And on Thursday, we'll talk about Robert's rules in particular, because we do see that
He's
is.
such a nuisance.
Yeah, and it's also something that,
You're getting
it's very important to make sure that, you follow it, and also we look back on minutes and we like, not necessarily just you, but like, oh my gosh, we forgot to vote on that kind of stuff.
Yes.
So we have discovered that we probably need to do more training through the region on that. On Thursday, we're not necessarily doing training on it, we're just going to discuss how it works for different boards, but we'll definitely provide some of that, and hopefully that will be an annual thing, because it never ends and it's always difficult. Then we have a sectional trustee certification, and that's basically when you get a new board member, you want to make sure that they can go in and click and register for that. And then follow up, and I want to thank Steve for completing the trustee certification program really quickly. He came on the board just a couple months ago.
Impressive.
I'm very impressed by
Good
that.
job, very impressed, actually.
Thank you for
Impressed
that
on
little-
We were
that
talking
little
earlier.
call, I appreciate it.
Okay.
I appreciate it.
They are great modules though.
Yeah, and listen to Steve.
Yes.
His stuff. The status report, we already kind of talked about that. I do recommend looking at the notes and make some goals. And I hope at some point when you get back to having committees, that you have a long-range committee that can look at that and work with the directors on moving forward in some of those. The juvenile collection review, so obviously you made a decision today on how you want to deal with that. I would like, before you leave, because I know that you don't see each other all the time, that the reports from the directors get signed by you today, and then you guys can just handwrite in whatever you need to do about the other, and just scan it and send it to me for Tuesday. That would be great. Does that make sense? Yeah, okay. And then I appreciate that you're closing for all staff day. That's something that we're doing for the first time. We obviously cannot ask anyone to close because that's a local decision, but it's we're hoping to see a lot of librarians there that day, and we'll talk about how it is to work with different generations, and that is something that we always see that can be very challenging at times. So we think you'll get a lot from that. This infographic is in your packet, and it shows you how your libraries did this year when it comes to training. You know that there are some required hours that the staff need to meet when it comes to training, and we provide that training, most of that through our region. So, and also obviously through the state library. 62 out of 73 met those required hours this year. I think I would, without knowing for sure, I think that probably has to do with, turnover, new directors, all that kind of very difficult to make that happen. But overall, 837 training hours for these libraries is very impressive. So I think we need to be very proud of these guys. And then we have some reminders, and this is just the time, obviously, you guys are working on the budget. Look at your board appointment form and see what you need for next year. That's coming up quickly. All of a sudden you're there and you need to look for some more new board members. And I know that this might not be popular, but I would really like for the board soon to give me an overview of your board members and when their term expires. That is something we've struggled with a few years for this board, and I would really like for that to be come back to us.
Those are listed on our county website.
Yeah, but it's more difficult than that. I think it's a little bit more complicated.
Got it.
And that's what we tried a few times with I think back when April was here, she worked on it. I think I talked to Steve about it a few years ago. Joanna, I mean, it's not easy because we've had so much turnover and figuring that out. And we asked boards to bring us that form signed every year, and I haven't had that from this board for a while, and I know there are good reasons for it, but I think what I will do is I will send that to you, Erica, just a copy of what we have right now, and then say, please, at some point, give that back to us updated. But I think that's basically it, and then we have a section of annual documents that are, like, have just set deadlines. Oh, MOE update. So I did receive the MOE today, so I really appreciate it. It's signed by all the mayors and by Erica, and so I'll get that into TSLA very soon, and
For everybody?
yeah, this is the MOE for the libraries.
Okay.
And I've already talked to Erica about
We've been in communication a lot.
some questions about that, and I appreciate you working on it. And as soon as that comes back approved and signed by the state librarian, we'll send out letters to the libraries for them to spend their state and federal funds. And the deadline is April 15th to spend that money. So I would recommend, and I think you already know this, but just have the orders ready. So you just have the button.
We do.
They're like, don't
I know
worry.
The card is full all the time, I can imagine.
So-
So let me ask you this question. So one of the things that's come up in discussion before, and this relates back to the MOE, if, per se, Mayor Clary gets his wish and Hendersonville figures out a way to be open on Fridays, that's gonna affect the MOE. So if that was to come about, or some other change of consistent hours was done, how do we're in touch with you about that and
Yeah,
walk through that?
it's a good question. I'm sure it's, there's lots of stuff that comes with that. But just looking at the MOE, opening hours is part of MOE. So depending on how you go about it, if you decide this is going to be a permanent thing, then that will be on the MOE. If you decide that you want to, test it out for a
Yeah, I
year,
was gonna say, do like
then
a
that would
trial.
be a conversation that you would have.
Okay, so that's all. But that's a step that has to happen.
Yeah, if that was to happen, the board would write a letter. I would imagine it would probably be to the state librarian or Secretary Hargett, requesting for
That adjustment in schedule.
Yeah, so I think if you ever come to that point, we'll talk about how you go about it.
I was just curious and just trying to entertain the idea of
Yeah,
that.
MOE is
What
definitely
kind
part
of-
of MOE.
Because I guess I don't understand where their dog is in that hunt. The state and the state part, because if we're paying salaries and all that's coming, and all those things are coming from the county, I guess that was just my question. And you don't have to explain that to me now, but that was a question I had. So to even entertain Mayor Clary's idea about being open on Friday, I don't feel like I know what I need to know about the tentacles of that, because I feel like there's a lot of tentacles to that. So, okay.
I think, I don't want to talk about this
I mean,
specifically, but MOE is part of MOE, or hours are part of MOE, so, and what we normally say is that if Gabby decides, oh, nobody comes on Saturdays, I'm just going to close on Saturday, that doesn't work. Not that you would, but
for argument.
Yeah, but, so that's kind of how we normally explain it, but if a library is going to add to it, and we'll definitely want to have some conversations about how you want to do it, and MOE, you can't just take hours away, so
Right.
it would be something that you're committing to, but it's also something that I wouldn't say that if you wanted to try a test period, then you would have to send us a letter and explaining that and saying that we want to test this out, and then somebody will have to approve it, not me. But,
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, so is that the end of your report and
Yes,
discussion?
that's on the end.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, so I'll entertain a
Make a
motion.
motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
All right.
Any opposed? Please no. All right.